Salutations and greetings, my lovelies. Hello, hello. So glad to see you again. This week, I wanted to talk to you about something that I have had a love-hate relationship with for my entire life. And I imagine this is possible for you too. So let's dive in. The word perfection. I'm sure it brings up a lot of different stuff, lots of different thoughts. That's to be expected. It's a very emotionally charged word for business owners, for women. So let's talk about it. Now, one of the things that I want to talk about, like both sides of perfection. So, like, there's this idea that perfection doesn't exist. It can never be attained. So those of us who have overcome or are struggling to or working towards overcoming perfectionistic tendencies, this is a really supportive idea for transformation, for that shift. And one of the things that has helped me is recognizing that, there's always going to be room for improvement. There's never going to be like this done time in history, right? There's never going to be this mile marker of like, you have reached perfection. Jen Moff, can you hear? It's me. It's perfection. You have arrived. Like, that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen for me. It's not going to happen for you. It's just not there, because the one constant is change and expansion and evolution and shifts and just opportunities for something else. So there is that like helpful side of perfectionism doesn't, support you. So we need to remember that perfection or perfect doesn't ever exist, because it's also based off of point of view, right? The other camp is something that I think is really important just as much. And that's the idea that perfecting things or working towards bettering something is valuable, is essential, is important, and is mandatory as a business owner, and especially as a business owner, quite frankly. I wrote a post the other day about how important it is to not just kind of succumb to the idea that done is better than perfect. And perfecting something or continuing to iterate something like again and again and again, or as much as like feels good to you, is valuable. So there's these two different sides of the word perfect, of perfectionism, of perfecting things. Now, why does that matter to you? Let me tell you. Because as a business owner who is wanting to grow their company, who wants to get their time back, the idea of perfecting something is probably really high on your list. It's somebody like you who wants more of the quality experience that you're envisioning in your mind for the customer, for your client, for your audience, for your people, for your community. And at the same time, you want to have a quality experience like in your free time, right? So we have to think about you for a second. We have to think about what matters here. And both of those things matter. The truth is, there's never going to be this moment in time where, you're done. And then at the same time, it's always important to remember not to just accept. I can't, words are hard sometimes, not accept the status quo and just be like, all right, well, as long as I'm done, that's cool. And I was talking to some people the other day, and they were getting so fixated on imperfections that they see in the online space. These are business owners that are not as comfortable with imperfections. And so they have latched on to this, like, it has to be perfect thing, to the point where they're unwilling to look at what other people who are more successful than them are doing to find that success. And success looks different for everybody, right? Like, I know for you, one of the things that you value is, not having to be working the hours that you do currently. It's this idea of having more fun and more playtime. Like, you didn't get into business to, not make a difference, not make an impact, and work yourself to the bone and not sleep and not go on vacations. Like, that doesn't sound like fun at all. That's not why you did this. So I want to encourage you that when you are out, whether you're doing market research or just passively consuming things as you're just going about your day to day, don't get so fixated on where you're not perfect, where another colleague or business isn't perfect or they're making mistakes, because focusing on what's wrong is not going to help you learn what they're doing right. If you're so focused on everything has to be perfect that you're not able to glean lessons and tips and tricks from people that are having the kind of life that you want, then you're doing it wrong. And I think you know that. I think there's a part of you that knows this. And maybe you just have gotten into a bad habit. Maybe it's something like just frustration and maybe a little envy of other people that are, in a place where you want to be and you don't really know how to get there. And you know what you value. You value quality stuff, which is why you put out the amazing things that you do. Here's the thing, though. At the end of the day, what got you here is not going to get you there. And you don't want to stay here because you're not a robot, because your definition of success is not burnout, tunnel vision, and lack of sleep. That's not a good time for you, nor is having, like shitty clients. Let's just be honest. Nobody wants a shitty client. Nobody wants a client that doesn't respect your time, that doesn't pay, that doesn't, value your expertise and challenges everything that you offer. None of that sounds like fun to anybody. It sure doesn't sound like fun to me. So here is the double-edged sword of perfection. Holding it loosely in your hand, just like this pen. Hello, pen. If I hold this pen so tight, you can see like the red and the blood and everything's going into places. It is so uncomfortable. My hand will start to lock up. I will, get arthritis. I don't know if that causes arthritis. I'm not a doctor, but it'll cause like pain in your joints, which I already have. So that's why I thought of arthritis. Anyway, I would say, holding it tightly does nothing for you. It adds no value for you. However, holding it loosely, letting it rest in your hand, that's the sound the pen makes as it moves towards you. Holding it loosely in your hand creates much less stress on the body. That's a physical example of what's happening when you cling tightly to any idea, mindset, or behavior that is not of service to you. Okay, so I want to challenge you to think about things a little bit differently and how you can hold your perfection values loosely. Focus on how you can continue to iterate and improve and have quality experiences for your customers. Focusing on how you can have a quality experience for yourself in your business, what perfection can do if you hold it loosely, and how you can let go of the idea that perfection is only going to be achieved through clinging tightly to something, through doing it all yourself, through sacrificing your time, your energy, your money, all of your vital resources. None of that sounds like a good time. It certainly doesn't sound like a good time to me. But go out there, have an amazing, amazing life. That's what we want for you. I don't want you to live in regret. I don't want you to wake up tomorrow or the next day or next year or, at the end of your life and look back and say, I wish I had done things differently. I wish that I had taken that risk on myself. Because fear is in your mind. It's not real. Just as perfectionism is a double-edged sword. There's always a middle ground, and I encourage you to find it. So, see you next week.